The Middle of the Pack podcast.
Yeah, look, I suppose there's two ways I'm lucky I've been able to react to the situation the way I have. And it's just, I just don't want everything we've been through to make me bitter. And my kids have the rest of their lives to live. So we need to try and do it in the best way possible, I suppose. So you've got to model that and live it yourself.
And that's Cliodhna Ruane, this week's guest, a truly inspirational runner, mum, and such a brave woman. And I was totally blown away by the whole episode and how engaging it was. But we start off where we're just catching up after the Dublin City Marathon. This is episode 19 of the Middle of the Pack podcast. So have you been since Dublin?
A long time to recover. I would say it took 4 weeks really before I felt like I would say even your nervous system was on fire. Do you know what I mean? It's not, and your neurological system, it's all firing. So physically and just not mentally, but just, there was just a fatigue. There was just fatigue, and things have been really busy here coming into the marathon. So my body held up for what it needed to, and then I think it crashed. You know the way it does. I had experience of that where if you work with your body, it'll work with you. But then when you've got to give it space and time as well. So it took a while to, I'm looking at people racing shortly after the marathon and I'm like, oh my God, no way, man. No way.
I know. It's crazy because like after I did the Cork Marathon, like I was mad to go back out, and Kieran, our coach, actually was kind of going, no, you need to take it easy. But then he let me do a park run on the Saturday afterwards. And my heart rate was like I was only jogging around, my pace, but my heart rate was really high, and I was going, jeepers, I wonder what that is. But it's just that fatigue, And at this time, I wasn't that keen to go back out. It was very different.
We're taking a break, sure we are, Kieran.
Yeah. No, but he was going, take. He was again saying to take a break, but it's and even like I'm racing on Sunday now, and even Ivan's going, it's still a short time, it still has.
No, I'm the same. It'll be I wouldn't be expecting to PB or anything like that.
Yeah. So how did you get into running?
I guess sport has always been a massive part of my life from when I was quite young. So the community games, I suppose, was my first experience of running, and running in my kind of local community and then getting through to the Galway and then going a bit further. So that would have been, I was always a fast runner, but I played so many different sports. Yeah, jack of all trades and master of none, I think really sums up my entire life across every sphere I've ever dipped my toe into. But I would have been involved with an athletics club for a while when I was younger. And then I switched to team sports. So I would have gone to hockey for a while, basketball, and then my dad would have been involved in cycling. And I started racing in my teens, but I wasn't really cut out for it. It was too hard. Do you know, I liked the idea of it, if you know what I mean. But when it came to it, I was able to do it for a while, but I didn't have the discipline. And I think that's probably through my late teens. You can play a team sport and not have, or back then you could anyway, you could play a team sport and not be disciplined. Now I think it's a different kettle of fish when I see some of the lads in the local GAA team. I mean, they're very disciplined, but really you could get away with partying hard and playing matches and things like that. So I would have tested that to the limit in college. I was, tested it to the limit. I would have played basketball I went to UL, I studied sports science, so I would have played basketball there. But I would have dipped in and out of running kind of all the way through school. Like I remember in my Leaving Cert year, I used to get up in the morning and just run. I used to live in Galway City, so I'd run the prom at 6:30 in the morning in my Leaving Cert year. So it's obviously something that was always there in the background that I always did. And then when I left college, I went working in a gym for a while, and then I was working out there all the time. And then I moved away into kind of restaurant jobs. And I started work. I couldn't play team sports because the hours you work I was working bars and restaurants. So running works with that lifestyle. You can run whenever you have a window. So I would have partied a bit too hard for a while. And then I started to dip my toe back into it. So I've been running on and off since my early 20s, really. Went back to team sport, did triathlons for a while. But the running has always been a part of life for me, I suppose.
Well, I'd be different. I started late. I had no interest in it and only started three years ago, kind of thing. But I've definitely got the bug now. I'm just getting PBs, but I'm going from being really slow to just, picking up the pace. But you did play a bit of GA as
Not.
well, huh?
Yeah, I did. I would have played Gaelic, but I was just going to say it's not like it's not really slow. Like I suppose it's really slow in comparison to really fast runners,
Yeah, yeah,
but it's not really slow for you. And I think that's something that so many people get disheartened with and make apologies for being slow when actually they're not. They're actually
yeah.
doing really well for them. And I think I don't know, is it an Irish thing? An inferiority thing? But I didn't think any Cork people had an inferiority complex.
Yeah.
But
Well, I might have a slight one. Maybe I've got some kind of, Western or Eastern genes in me somewhere along the line. Yeah, sometimes you have to catch yourself on because you see what the average pace is for your age or whatever. And people might have like 34 minutes and then you're going, oh, well, I'm really good. But as you say, when you're comparing yourself then to some of the people in the clubs that I'm involved in or the training groups that we're involved in, there's some really fast people. So
because you don't know what people have like, going on in their lives or don't have going on in their lives. So like you could be comparing yourself to somebody who has, a job where they're not bringing it home with them, that there isn't the mental load or the cognitive load, or that there isn't a stress load at home. So like that all has a huge effect on your performance and on your training. So I think we have to just remember it's individual. It's an individual sport, and that it's yourself you're trying to better and improve all the time, irrespective of what everybody else is doing.
yeah, yeah. And when you say you did some sports science and you worked in restaurants and bar, are you working now or is it just full time mom?
So I on leave at the moment, so I'm on carers leave. My daughter was diagnosed with leukemia on New Year's Day. This is really bad. What year are we? 2025. So she's 2 years into treatment. Yeah, 2024. Sorry, I get all mixed up with my. It's all a blur. So on the 1st of January, she was diagnosed with leukemia. So I've been on carer's leave since then. So hopefully in February she finishes and we'll be finished with the chemotherapy. So at the moment she's on maintenance, which is low dose
Yeah.
chemotherapy, but it's every night. So she has 8 doses a week to take, and that's all at home. And then every 4 weeks we're in Crumlin for an extra dose. So say we were in Crumlin now on Monday night, so that'll kind of take its toll on her this week. But aside from the week we're in Crumlin, she's quite well and she's able to participate in sports. She's probably at about 80% kind of capacity.
And how many children do you have? Where is she in the?
She's the baby. She's 10. She's turning 11 in January. She had her ninth birthday actually up in Crumlin when she was diagnosed that time. And then I have a son who's 15 and my daughter Neve turned 18 yesterday. So there's a bit of a spread, but good fun.
And your husband died then just prior to that as well,
Just
didn't he?
Yeah, so my husband was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer in May 2022 after a couple of months of kind of general unwellness, but like not like obviously we never thought that it was something as serious as this. Just he would have presented with kind of gastro issues, but I think in retrospect he was probably hiding the pain part. He would always have had trouble with his stomach and would have been on Nexium and always different tablets. Nothing would ever have shown, but he would have a strong family history of there'd be a big his mum would have passed away quite young, having had a number of different bouts of cancer and in the wider family. So it wasn't a surprise, but it was a surprise at the same time. He would have been watched because of the family history, but I guess with COVID things slowed down.
Yeah, yeah.
And yeah, but so what I was saying is I think in retrospect, maybe there would have been more pain in his symptoms than maybe he would ever have experienced before. But the way you kind of, it's just the way you are. It's just, you don't really think that it could be something. And I think he knew he was going for his regular checkup. So he probably just was tolerating whatever symptoms he had until the checkup. But unfortunately, yeah, he had pancreatic cancer and there would have been spots on his liver. So that would have been the end of May in 2022. And treatment went well, or so we thought. Now, we knew it was never going to be riding off into the sunset, having totally cleared. I think we knew that was never on the cards, but we certainly thought that he was going to get over this round of cancer and that we'd have time. But I think we both would have expected there to be further, a longer journey on the oncology, just with his family history and stuff. But unfortunately, when his treatment had been going quite well, they switched him to something called immunotherapy, which is a targeted therapy. But unfortunately for Malachy, his targeted therapy drove the cancer and fueled the growth. The cancer was able to use the immunotherapy drugs to grow. So he ended up getting very sick just before Christmas and was given 24 hours to live in January.
Oh
But
no.
he got over that, but we knew he was in palliative care at that stage. So we had another, the 31st of May, or March, sorry, he passed away. So it was a very short journey and a very short, yeah, it was very intense because he was unwell for a lot of it. So he passed away in March, and then my daughter was diagnosed with leukemia the following January. So it's been a bit of a crazy couple of years, but thank God for running, because running is what's kept me sane through it all. Only
Yeah,
hard.
it's amazing the number of people. I mean, this podcast is only 19 episodes in, but the amount of people that say that running keeps them sane, and it's just such a release. And, I wouldn't have gone through anything. But my own father died before Christmas. It was his first anniversary just gone. But I remember around the time of the funeral just going out and running and just clearing my head. But I mean, obviously nothing like what you and your family went through, but you do need those escapes, don't you?
Definitely. And like even through Malachy's illness, I would have continued to run. And even the evening he passed away, I had an arrangement to meet my friend. I run with a guy here in Upthorard, and I had arranged to meet him for a run. And I was kind of thinking maybe I wouldn't. And Malachy was like, just go for a run. And he asked me to call two or three of his buddies. He wanted to see them. I'd say he probably knew he was starting to deteriorate a lot. Like he was still talking up until evening time, but like the evening he passed away, he was sending me out for a run while he got to catch up with his buddies, kind of, or had that
Yeah, yeah.
final conversation with his buddies. But like he was kicking me out the door to run. And when Roisin was in Crumlin, I would have very much like I ran when she would have been in. She used to have to go in under general anesthetic to get chemotherapy put into her spinal fluid, because the oral chemo you take, or IV fluids, it doesn't pass into the pass over the blood barrier into the spinal fluid system and into her brain. So part of the treatment is is chemo into the spinal fluid. So that'd be about an hour and 15, an hour and 20. So I used to run laps around Crumlin Hospital. So I was only ever 10 minutes max at the furthest point away. And I'd like, if
Yeah,
you looked at my Strava, it's laps of Crumlin. Or I have a couple of cousins who are in their 20s. They'd come sometimes and sit with her for an hour in the evening, and I'd venture a little bit further in the summer months when it was bright. But yeah, so it was quite funny actually in the Dublin Marathon when I was coming up the road. There's a Dunn's on the town side of Crumlin. For I don't like I'm useless when it comes to Dublin, you know yourself. But
yeah.
anyway, I was running along and I suddenly went, "Hang on, I know where we are here," and I recognised the Duns. And then coming up to Crumlin, I was like couple of roads around there I knew. So yeah, so it's gotten me through. It's gotten me through all of that.
It's amazing. And like three kids looking after all of that sort of situation and completing a marathon block, that must have been fairly hard as well, though.
Mm.
Or was it more release?
It was a bit of both. Like it was really, I love the blocks. I love training blocks. I love working my way through a block and getting closer to the goal. Like the day was fabulous as well, but I do really enjoy the training part. So that was great, and I love having something to train for. So that was great, but it did get busy. I suppose Neve is going into Leaving Cert, McDara's in Junior Cert, and with Roisin's treatment and stuff. And my mum lives with me as well. My mum she lives in her own unit kind of next door to us, and she has something called Huntington's, which
Uh-huh.
is like a cross between Parkinson's, MS, and Alzheimer's. So she is pretty independent, but needs a lot of support as well. So it did get very, very, very. She's bipolar as well, so she's got a lot of challenges. So and it's funny, in September I had been running at certain paces, and I suddenly just wasn't able to hit them anymore. I just couldn't. I had been hoping to run the marathon at a particular pace, and my marathon pace runs, I just couldn't get there anymore. And I suppose having been through all of the challenges before, I do know that when your body just can't, it just can't. Like
Hmm.
I have seen, I think when there's cortisol tearing around your body because of all the stress, I do think you have to work with your body. So rather than forcing what I had been able to do, I stepped back and I pushed my kind of minute mile pace out by about 15 seconds. And it made a huge difference. And I was able to manage the training. And I think that was, in retrospect, that was probably a game changer. It was, I don't think I would have, something would have had to give, and it would have been my body, I think. So I do think that if you work with your body will work with you.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
makes, if that makes sense, that I didn't just disregard those signs. I listened, I adapted, and it let me do what I needed to do, but at a different pace. So I do think that's probably, I think once I did that, and once I mentally came to terms with the fact that I wasn't going to run it at the pace I had originally anticipated, which is sometimes the hardest part, isn't it? It's your head, your
yeah.
ego.
It's always ahead with me, I think.
Yeah. And our egos, you know? So
Yeah,
yeah, I think so. While it was challenging, because I'm on carers leave, I have time in the morning because Roisin is in school for the most part. So I get dressed in my running gear every morning. And when I drop the kids to school, it's literally straight out for the run before anything else can get in the way. Because I would have found if I leave it kind of run into the afternoon or the evening, something will happen and something will come up that will just force me to adjust my plans, and then I don't get the run done. And then I'd start to get frustrated. So it's first thing in the morning, done and dusted. So I suppose I'm lucky from that point of view that I had the time
yeah.
to do it.
And would you do another one? Marathon, I mean.
Well, I've registered for Limerick.
Did you?
Yeah, I did. I would have done Cork, except it's too close to the Leaving Cert and the Junior Cert, and I know the stress level. I have to be on point at home to support the kids, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
So Limerick is the month before. It's the main bank holiday weekend. So I'm in for Limerick, and I'm one of the lucky lotto winners in Dublin. So I've two down for next year.
Okay. Yeah, like with some people, I asked you, are you going to do another one? Because some people finish a marathon, go never again, but then get the itch. But you've obviously got a double
Yeah.
itch and you've scratched them
Well,
both.
I know I can go faster. Like I know from how I had been training, I know I can go faster than like I'm really happy with my time. I couldn't like everything went to plan. My body held up. I didn't, I wasn't badly injured. I was sore. I'm sure like lots of people were, but I didn't push myself to the point that I did huge damage. So I suppose from that point of view, I finished like I wasn't comfortable. Like that last, it was a tough day. Like it
Yeah,
wasn't, the conditions weren't ideal. Like that, for I thought we'd never get out of the Phoenix Park. Jesus, that Chesterfield Avenue went on and on and on, and it was cold and wet and windy. I was like, do I really want to do this?
I
But then
know.
you get to the top of the hill and then it's woohoo.
I didn't even notice Heartbreak Hill, but there was other parts that I did feel felt were way worse than Heartbreak Hill. But maybe,
It's very small.
yeah, yeah, yeah. There was. I don't even. I can't remember the area, but Ivan ran the first half with me, and there was one hill that we did during her time, so it was in the first half that she went, "Oh, gee, that was tough." Like, and I was going, "Well, if
Yeah,
that's not Heartbreak Hill, what's Heartbreak Hill going to be like?" And I don't know.
it's fine. I
Yeah,
think it's just where it comes, isn't it? It's because it
yeah,
comes at the tail end. And I was very conscious of, I would have listened to quite a few podcasts like Emmett Dunleavy and Kevin English. And, all of these people are kind of saying like to manage yourself early on. So I was very conscious of not pushing too hard in the first half with the wind the way it was, with the conditions and with that climb. Like when you go back and look at your profile on Strava or your Garmin and you see the climb in those first few miles, it's fairly significant.
yeah, yeah,
So I'm glad I didn't kill myself, so I was comfortable. Coming up by Crumlin Hospital wasn't a particularly nice part either.
yeah. I'm sure.
Yeah, that definitely was a windy headwind kind of a spot too. I'm
Yeah,
very good at hiding in behind people though.
yeah. Yeah. It was cold as well, but it was the worst part for me was the walk before and afterwards. They were the two bits that I was going. That was the nightmare for me for Dublin, not necessarily the race.
once you stopped, it was really cold. Like I was really, really, really
Yeah.
cold.
Actually,
And trying.
your little segment on the one of the podcasts after Dublin was very well reviewed as you were changing your sports bra.
I suppose I've three children. I'm nearly 50. Like I've no shame left anymore. I really don't care. Like and I'm old enough to understand that most people aren't paying too much attention to people like to women my age. I just was so cold. I had to get out of my clothes. I had to put on. You get very cold in a sports bra with the sweat and the obviously being wet. And if you get cold, it's just so hard to warm up. And I was like, I have to find a spot here. So I found what I thought was an office building that was unoccupied, being a Sunday, but
No, it's
I'm
up
not
on
sure how
YouTube now, actually.
unoccupied it was. But anyway, we got it. We got it into out of and into clothes, but there was no. Yeah. Anyway, left all my decency on the side of the road there in Marion Square.
And you drove back, didn't you, the same day?
I was going to,
Oh,
but
you
my
didn't?
dad came to the rescue. My dad lives in Carlow. So he had himself and his wife had taken the two younger kids for me and brought them around the course. So he offered to drive me home, which was fabulous because I was worried about driving home and seizing. It was my first marathon, so I had no idea what to expect. And I know when I drove home from Charleville after the Charleville half, by the time I got home, my legs were well and truly shot after just all, clutch and excel, just all the pedals and the
Yeah.
legs. So I was conscious. But dad drove me home and got the bus back the next day, which was fantastic. So I
Oh,
didn't have
that's
to worry
brilliant.
about it.
Brilliant.
Yeah, yeah. And it was nice because my dad doesn't live in the same city. So it was nice to have the time to chat as well.
Yeah, yeah. And so I was going to ask you what your plans for, but you've already said you're doing Limerick and doing Dublin again.
Yeah, yeah.
And if you're
My
not,
Kieran has been on to me a bit as well about getting a few races in. I've been trying to dodge, the whole, get some races in there too, girl. I was trying to, I wasn't able. I wasn't able after the marathon. Definitely, yeah, 4 weeks, I would say it took to start to feel like my legs were starting to come round. And I would say in the last 10 days, I've started to kind of come back to try and hit 10K and 5K paces that I would have been hitting. So it definitely takes its toll on the body. But Kieran was saying, look, try and get a few races in. And there's not a whole pile of races in Galway to choose from. I find
yeah,
Cork, like I know from being in the WhatsApp group, in Kieran's WhatsApp group, the selection of races is phenomenal in Cork. We wouldn't have that in Galway. So yeah, it's harder to get to races, and when you're on your own at home and you're going, you kind of have to pick and choose the races that you do. But luckily, there's three races in Galway in December, so I'm going to get those in. And then there's one I'm going to Mayo on Sunday to run a 10K, so that will be my first outing. So hopefully, by the time I run the last race, I'll have ran myself into a bit of form
yeah,
and break 20 minutes for 5K. That just never seems like it's going to happen.
yeah. The 5K dreams get lost in marathon times, don't they, when you're doing it? But that kind of for me, I'm going to try and focus a little bit on that. I'm hoping still. I didn't get a Dublin ballot. Ivan did. Actually, Ivan got rejected the same day as me, and then got a congratulations email the next day as well. So it was a bit like, what's that all about? Yeah, so I'll spend the first half just trying to get some shorter race times down, and then the second half go back into a block. But you'll probably have to start again in January, won't you? For February,
On
maybe.
a 12-week, it was a 12-week block. So it'll be April, if you go back April, March, February. So I'll get January to try and get a bit of speed into the legs. So December and January trying to get a bit of speed into the legs and then build again.
Build again, get a few halves in the mix. Yeah. Is there a Gael Gore in your family, or is it just Galway? Or was Mal?
Actually, both my parents are from Cork and I was born in Cork.
All right, so you
Uh,
have that
yeah.
inferiority complexes.
Actually, that was the joke in our house. My dad's joke was always, did you hear about the Cork man with the inferiority complex? He thought everybody else was as good as him. Like
Yeah,
that was his go-to joke always. So yeah, we grew up in Galway, but like all my relations would be Cork. So yeah, we were brought up saying Hurley in the county of Hurls.
yeah. but no Gaelga.
Yeah, I went to an all-Irish primary school, so I'm fluent. Myself and my siblings would all have Irish. And I'm a primary school teacher now. Well, when I'm not on carers leave, I'm a primary school teacher, so I would have taught in Irish schools. So yeah, no, I have it. I can bluff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, you probably bluff. I have the Irish name, but I have fluent parents, but not myself or my siblings. Yeah, it's a kind of a regret that I'd like to. I still like to think that I could do something about, but anyway, there's time if I can.
Generational thing
Yeah, if I can.
for your generation.
My nieces and nephews, a lot of them went to Gael schools and are flying again. But so yeah, you have to do your half marathon in Cork then, if you have the Cork routes. Your
I
half
have
marathon
entered
prior to Dublin.
and I've entered the Cork half for the June bank holiday weekend or whatever weekend that is,
Yeah,
just in case I'm recovered enough to be able to do it. And I know there's a good transfer. Cork do a good transfer system. So, and I know being in the running group with Kieran that I'm sure it'll be snapped up pretty quickly.
yeah, you'll have no problem. So you're going to, yeah, but Cork is just after Limerick, isn't it? So it's
4 to 5 weeks. I'm not sure how it falls, but around that. So I don't know if I'll be recovered enough. And if I get there, I get there. If not, I'm not. I'm not too worried. I'll have there's plenty of other races around too. But it was selling out, so I kind of said I better grab the
yeah,
entry while they were still there.
the half is nice actually. I like it. I like it a lot. And what about shoes? Have you got a shoe rotation going on, or are you more of a be grand in the one pair?
I I have my daughter, my 10-year-old. Mom, you don't have another pair of runners, do you? So I do, yeah, I use the Brooks Glycerin Max. Is that what they are?
Yeah,
They're so comfortable. Like they're my easy running shoe. It's like wrapping yourself up in bubble wrap and going for a run. They're
yeah,
really, really, really comfortable. I find them, when you find something that works, you'd be very slow to change and you'd love to change, but like it's like when you go to a restaurant, you're not going to order something you don't know if you like when you're hungry. you
yeah,
know?
yeah.
So they'd be my kind of everyday run. I have the Adidas Boston for the tempo runs, and I would have done a lot of my marathon paced runs in those rather than my racing runners, which I have a pair of Alpha Flies I did the marathon in, and I
Okay.
found them great. No issue with them. I'd love to try do you know the ones Andy's always on about?
Pro
The
fours.
Adidas. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But the Alphas were on sale there in the Black Friday sale. So you kind of go with and I have a pair of Vaporflies as well.
I've um I've put the Pro fours on my Christmas list, so we'll see whether Santa Claus delivers them or not. I have the Bostons as well, but I find them, whether it's just with the heel and the Achilles, I find them a bit less protective than the glycerins, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, I find them. No, I still do all my all my slow runs are all done in the Brooks. It was the marathon pace runs or a tempo run I do in the tempos the Bostons. It's nice to just have a different pair of shoes to put on too, though, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, switch it up. I got the Evo SLs, which are Adidas as well. They're kind of like they are the best shoe I've ever worn. Oh, they are super. I wore them yesterday for kind of yesterday for the session, and it just like I wear the Bostons normally for sessions, and the Evo SLs have so much more. You feel like they're carbon plated, but they're not. They're brilliant, and they're only 150 euros
Yeah, I
only.
have to keep an eye on Adidas. I am at the stage where I'm hiding the boxes though as they're coming in.
Yeah,
Not that
yeah,
they come in regularly, but yeah, they're yeah, I am having to hide them. But anyway, it could be worse. I could be hiding bottles of booze.
exactly. Yeah, yeah. But it's been thanks so much for coming on. It's been a real pleasure, and your story is such an inspiration. And I mean that honestly. It's just so inspiring, and yeah, you're a credit. You're brilliant.
I'm yeah, look, I suppose there's two ways I'm lucky I've been able to react to the situation the way I have. And I yeah, it's just I just don't want everything we've been through to make me bitter.
Yeah, yeah,
So, and my kids have the rest of their lives to live, so we need to try and do it in the best way possible, I suppose. So you've got to model that and live it yourself.
yeah, yeah. But you're doing a great job at it, that's for sure. So thanks very
Thanks very
much.
much.
Yeah,
Cheers. Much appreciated. I enjoyed. I love the podcasts and the great variety. So, yeah, looking forward. I don't know if I'm looking forward to hearing my one, but anyway, the
yeah,
rest
yeah,
have all been great.
yeah. Thanks very much. I'll see you again.
Hey, thanks a million, Padraig.
All right,
Cheers.
thank you.
Come on, Cork.
Yeah,
Slow
cheers.
on.
Bye, bye. And that's Cliodhna Ruane. Fabulous episode. I hope you enjoyed it. As you know, we're here every Wednesday. It's launched every Wednesday, the Middle of the Pack podcast. Follow us on all the social media channels. Just for this week, thanks for listening and keep on running.